Hello, this is Philip Allen Travis, and welcome to Love and Knowledge. I'm the author of Croiso Adre. Today I'd like to talk to you about Sanatana Dharma, which means the natural way. First thing I want to talk about is the idea that we are basically setting ourselves into quote-unquote denominations. So we're putting ourselves into, I'll say, tribes, different ways of thinking, and different religions and all that. Now, this sounds like it is something that has always been, but it's not. Really, it's a fairly new thing. Probably only 2,500 years old, maybe a little bit longer than that, but roughly about 2,500 years old. Before that, every single civilization on the earth lived according to the natural way. No one said, you're Christian. No one said you're Buddhist. No one said you're Hindu. No one said you're Muslim, etc., etc. Everyone lived in accordance to the natural way. And at which point everything was at peace. Everything was perfect. Obviously, not everyday life was perfect, because if everything's perfect, you're not gonna learn anything. If you just keep going along and there's no problems, or there's no obstacles, then you're not going to learn as much. But as far as the whole world was concerned, at an ancient point, everyone believed in the same thing. And all you have to do is, essentially, you can go to, if I'm correct in saying this, Vietnam maybe, or Thailand. I'm not quite sure. But there is a temple around that area, basically, that shows in one temple all the different gods that you would see around the world. And this is in one temple. And actually, I believe you can see this too in the Mayans. You can see it pretty much all across the world in ancient temples and stuff like that. Now, everyone believed in the same thing. You lived according to the laws of nature. And eventually, this started to decline, and eventually we started separating into sects. Not SEX, but SC, into sections. So, now that we are starting to see the decline of the denominations, because now you can actually see Christians who will go visit a Buddhist, or listen to a friend who is a Buddhist, and say, you know what, I agree with you. And if I'm correct in saying this, 40 years ago, 50 years ago, that was unheard of. If you were a Christian, if you were a Catholic, if you were Muslim, if you were even a Hindu, you wouldn't even have anything to do with these people. It would be shut down. No, I'm in my box. This is the way it is, and you're wrong. But meanwhile, every single one of these quote-unquote religions are all based off the same ancient knowledge, just put into a different way. Now, am I getting mad at anybody for this? Of course not. I love you all. Why should I get mad at you? You're a piece of God, like I keep saying in all my videos. We're pieces of God, got the God spark. We're part of the ether. We're part of the shining of God, right? So I'm not going to get mad at you. But the one thing that we do need to start doing is living together as one. Now, something that comes up that that some people may get frustrated with or angry with if I mention this, but is the idea of a new world order. As soon as you hear that, you think of George Bush Sr., and you start thinking of the Illuminati, right? You're thinking that there's one group that's going to take over the world, and you're going to have to deal with them. And there is this quote-unquote brotherhood who's trying to do this. But they're going to fail. And if anyone are watching them, you know you're going to fail. You know black magic well enough. You know you can see into the future. You know it's coming. But you're grasping a hold of it so tightly because you're afraid. And I'm sorry to say this to you, but you're going to fail. Thank you for everything you've taught us. Right now, we're just watching you decline. We're getting angry at you, because what you are doing is not in our best interest. When I say our, the whole world's best interest. It's only in a small section, right? When you look at the oil, it's only in a small group's best interest. When you look at natural gas, only in a small group's best interest. When you look at the new pop music or new hip hop, that is only in a small group's best interest. It doesn't benefit everybody. It only benefits the people who are going to make a fake piece of paper and some digits in a computer, as I say. Now, I'm going to kind of sidetrack here. I'm going to move aside because this is something I do feel I should get across. And it does kind of go along. But it's the word law. The laws. Okay? You got karmic law. And this is something that apparently you can't escape. I don't know how the dark forces do it. They from what I understand, they have a soul, I think, and no spirit. And they just kind of keep reincarnating. And they really don't have to deal too much with karma. They really don't, from what I understand. Maybe after they die they do, but somehow they're able to come back through, I guess, their friends coming to grab them from death. I'm assuming that's an idea of it. But as far as anyone with a spirit, with a God spark, you do have to deal with karma. Myself, I'm guilty of it. I've done a lot of bad things in my life, and believe me, I have felt the slap of karma afterwards. So sometimes it's only a small little bit. Other times it lasted almost a year. But you know what? I learned. I definitely learned from it. Now, what I want to talk about law, I want to talk about what we have to deal with right now. Okay, when you go to a judge, let's say if something happens and you need to go to court. First off, you're putting your hand on the Bible. Am I wrong? Why? That book was created 2,500 years ago. Less than 2,500 years ago. 2,000 years ago. And it's not even a legitimate book. It's been touched and reprinted and just manipulated beyond belief. Right? It was supposed to be that the old text was never supposed to be touched. But yet now you got the new one. So, but anyway, you're putting your hand on the Bible saying, do you swear to tell the whole truth and nothing but the truth? But yet that book lies in it itself. So right there you've got hypocrisy. As soon as you step in there. Right? As soon as you put your hand and say, I do swear, you're allowed to lie after that. Why not? That book does. The people who created that book lie. Again, I'm not saying anything bad about them. I love them I still love them to death. But still, there's lies within it. And there's lies behind it. The ones who created it. So now that you're in court and you've sworn to tell the whole truth and nothing but the truth on this Bible, you have this guy sitting over top of you, the judge, and you got to ask him. Well, he's only going to take basically two ways here. He's going to take law, and he's going to use it for money, or he's going to take, I'll say, mercy, and as far as natural law, and he'll go with that. Justice, so to speak. Proper justice. But right now, we're not seeing proper justice, are we? Unless you tell the judge to say that oath, and I'm gonna say that I don't remember what the name of the oath is, but they have to say, if you tell them to say a certain oath, they cannot continue to base their judgment off of money. Who's going to get the money? It's off of pure justice. Who is in the right now? If I were to take Stephen Harper to court right now, and I'm only speaking because I'm Canadian, but if I were to take Stephen Harper to court right now and say, listen, man, you are guilty of allowing a genocide of the natives, you're allowing, and that's just one thing, you're also allowing the death of many other of your citizens of Canada because there's plenty cures for cancer and you're not doing anything about it. Meanwhile, he's supposed to be the one who we're supposed to look up to, the one who's supposed to tell us what's going on. Meanwhile, it's the people for the government, not the government for the people, right? We are to basically tell them what's going on. But if you do, what happens? You get bombarded with tear gas, right? So there's problems already. Now, right now we are seeing it at a huge rise in people because of the internet. Bless the internet, we are seeing a huge rise in people learning. That's awesome. People are starting to learn their own. They may be finding some BS, but through that BS, hopefully they're intelligent enough to sift through it and find legit. Just keep doing your research and you'll find things that are legitimate. But I basically just want to get across that, because I'm getting close to the 15-minute mark here. I want to get across that we are coming out of a really dark age. One that it's probably one of the darkest ones that this planet's seen in a long time. But we're coming out of it. We're watching it fall. And after the 21st of December of this year, things are going to start speeding up even faster, which they already are. It's going to start speeding up even faster, and we are moving into a golden age, where denominations, where the sects, not SEX, but the sections, will disappear, and we will have a one world. I don't want to call it a religion, but we'll have a one world spiritual belief, living in the natural way. Anyway, that is my talk for right now. I'll probably do another video here in another couple minutes or whatever. But I just wanted to get that off my chest. That yes, we are getting into a golden age. We are coming into a Dharma again. And again, to the negative forces out there, to the dark forces who will probably see this, that you're failing. Now you can either just keep holding on to it, or you can just let it go and let us take over. Because we know what is right. We do. We need to start meditating again, and we need to start getting back to our spiritual self. But look at this. I'll say this quickly. Look at where yoga is right now. Yoga is on every single continent. Natural healing is on every single continent. PhDs and MDs are allowed to prescribe these things now. Again, on the West front, the idea of herbal remedies is a danger to the pharmaceutical companies, so they're trying to boycott that. Again, with the marijuana plant, they're going to do whatever they can so people can't grow it, because that's a huge one. But also there's many other herbs that you can grow, but there's a law now that states unless that any disease can only be cured from a drug, and that's within the law. But just let me say this before we go. As a person who's not part of any society whatsoever, if you don't have a card that states you're in a society, a law society especially, you're not bound by these laws. Okay? An act or statute is based off of people within the society in which created it. And you're not part of that society, so you're not bound by it. But if you go to a doctor, you're going to have to deal with what they are going to give you, because they are part of that society. So they are bound to those laws. Anyway, I love you all very much, and I'll talk to you soon. Love and knowledge. God bless.